Hello, my name is Robert Medrano, owner of Peach Hill Soils. Welcome today to part 2 of our instructional videos on landscaping tips. Today we'd like to talk about protecting our trees and our shrubs from cold winter nights. We are entering that time of year and we need to start thinking about protecting our plants that we've invested so much time and effort into. When the temperatures get to 32 or below, we need to think about, before bed, we need to think about covering the delicate plants. An example here is lantana. Very delicate, does well in the summer, but not so good in the winter. Nandina, in front of me, is also very delicate. Some of the things we could use that are easily accessible in our house would be a cardboard box. It's as simple as taking this cardboard box and dropping it over the plant. That's going to protect the plant from that cold ice and humidity that can get on the leaves and freeze and then burn our plants. If we should have a larger plant like this lantana, we could use a plastic trash bag. We could then drape that over the top of the plant, the majority of the plant, doesn't have to cover it completely. We might consider dropping a couple of rocks or something to anchor it down on windy nights, and that's going to protect our plant. When the sun comes up in the morning and the temperatures rise, we could then just take off our plastic off the lantana so it's getting some sunlight, take the box off our nandina, and let it get some of that valuable sunlight to protect it. Just keep in mind, if you keep an eye on the weather, if it's going to be 32 or below, it's a good idea to do. 35, 37 degrees, not so bad. Keep in mind too, if there's consecutive nights of freezing temperatures, it's important to cover the plants, very important. Potted plants, you could put those closer to the house, put them in the garage, underneath the patio, that's going to protect them. But these little tips will help you to keep your plants alive and keep them healthy until springtime comes around. Another good tip to protect your plants is adding mulch. Mulch is going to protect the root system from these cold nights that are ahead. It's also going to feed the plants with the compost that's inside the mulch. Adding the mulch at a 3-inch depth is going to protect the plants from the cold nights. It's also going to stop erosion and during heavy rains and suppress weeds. It's a good idea to put down as the nights get colder to start protecting the plants. I'd like to introduce you today to David Snow, a good friend of mine for over 25 years. David is a landscape designer in the Ventura County area. I asked him to join us today in this instructional video to talk to us a little bit about protecting our plants even farther with the winter months ahead.
Robert, good to be here. Yeah, we go back 25 years. Kind of date us a little bit. But
right.
Anyway, it's good to be here. We're going to talk about how to winterize your garden. And it's not your whole garden, but there may be some plants out there that need a little help to get through some of the cold nights of winter. So the easiest way is first go out and identify the plants that need it. There's a lot of plants that have no trouble with low temperatures, but there are a few. And I'd probably say some are your citrus, and some of your maybe a couple of succulents out there too. I think it's first to kind of know your area. If you're in a valley where cold air is going to sit, you've got to do a little bit more protection than if you're up on the hill. The easiest way I protect my plants up in Thousand Oaks in the cold winter nights is I use a kind of a horticulture cloth, and I just take it and I place it over the plant. Just kind of cover it up, just like this, and that's all you really need to do. You don't need to pin it down. You're going to keep it there for a couple of days. You don't have to remove it during the day. Sunlight will come through this, so the plant's it's just basically keeping that cold air from getting too close to your plant. And this is just a very easy way. I think Robert has it available at Peach Hill. You can cut it into various sizes that you want. You may not need to cover your whole yard with this, but you kind of pick and choose. It might be your semi-dwarf citrus trees out here. It'd be a little tougher to cover a whole tree with this, and you don't necessarily, but your tinder, maybe even some of your herbs that are out here, like the Italian parsley would benefit, something like that. Anyway, it's a good tip. It's easy to move, it's easy to store. You'll get 2 or 3 years of life out of this.
Another important landscaping tip is trimming our trees to prepare for the strong winds that are approaching.
Yeah, fall is always a good time to do a little house cleaning in the garden. And if you wanted to first talk about trees, the trees have built up these big canopies providing shade and everything, but at this time you really need to kind of open them up and let the winds be able to pass through them. And sometimes a little money spent on tree care will benefit you down the road, not have the liability of a tree falling over or falling over on your fence or in your neighbor's yard. So I would encourage you to either call Peach Hill, get a referral of a reputable tree professional company that could come out and help you. And I always say it's dollars well spent before we get into these heavy winds that race across Ventura County.
Thanks, Dave. Those are great tips. What about our perennials and our shrubs?
Oh, Robert, you know, fall is always a good time. I tell my clients it's just a good time to do a little haircut. And you kind of come in, you look at the plants that are a little bit overgrown, and you want to kind of come down and just, I always say, open the plant up and look for the babies. Look for the pups down there that want to be the next generation. You're going to cut them down to maybe 12 inches, and you're going to open them up a little bit. The sun is going to, and the next generation of plants is going to grow. And it's not just on this particular plant that most of you know. It's Asclepias cursivica, which is a common milkweed, and that provides a lot of nectar to the bees and the butterflies and produces a lot of monarch butterflies. Great plant. And hey, I appreciate you having this in your garden.
Absolutely, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and now it's right next to these white flowers right here, commonly called cosmos. And that too, and you've heard this before because it's been used in the terminology in horticulture for years, deadheading. And what we really come down here and just kind of systematically take off some of the dead flowers that are here, and you can see them. And I don't come in through here and try to take everything down. I'm just kind of selectively pruning off the dead, and what that's going to do is stimulate a new flower to come up. Same thing that happens with roses. The more flowers you cut, the more flowers you get.
Thank you so much for visiting our instructional video today. I'd like to thank my buddy Dave Snow for being with us today and sharing his valuable tips.
Robert, it's always good to be out here in your garden. You've got a beautiful garden here, and it's always kind of nice to be out helping folks and giving them a little bit of instruction about this time of year. So I appreciate you being here.
You betcha, it's very helpful. So visit our website at peachhillsoils.com, and if you have any questions, concerns, tips, just anything you'd like to discuss, make sure you email us at info@peachhillsoils.com. And I can also give you some referrals for your professional tree trimmers at that time. Thank you very much.